It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
You decide when you lose, not other people.
And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and of course the subscribe button and join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollersPodcast.com. What's going on, everybody? Hi, I'm Stuttering Craig. Welcome to the #1 video game and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's Side Scrollers. Man, oh man, it's Tuesday. Just based off the pre-show conversation, today's going to be a bitchin' show, man. I am beyond excited. It is Tuesday. Hello, Blabs. Are you having a good day?
Yeah.
Bitchin'.
I feel the 90s now. I never used to say that word. Bitchin'.
Bitchin's a great word.
It is. It can mean like you're totally bitchin', or it can mean like bitchin', like rock on. So many words.
That word originated, I think, back in the 60s and 70s. I first heard my mom saying that. It was, well, yes, nor was I, Blabs. Ridiculous. Unreal. But yes, we had a great duo of friends with us today. Starting, as always, it's Tuesday. It's Melanie Mac Day. Hello, Melanie.
Hi! I'm so excited to be here. I stayed up really late playing Pokemon Leaf Green, but I'm feeling good.
Awesome. How's that big old stick of butter behind you?
Great. It looks very appetizing. I'm just really trying my best to not eat that right now. So.
When was the last time you just had a little gnaw on the butter stick?
Oh, funny. It's actually been a while, like a couple months, but I did eat cream cheese. Just I've kind of rotate between butter and cream cheese. So lately it's been cream cheese.
Do you just have like little gnaw bites and marks on the back of large butter sticks?
I do. I like the butter in my fridge. It always has like bite marks in it.
No, I mean the big one right there.
Oh,
like, if you just look really closely, will you see little bite marks on it?
Yeah, I had to flip it over so that you wouldn't see it.
The truth will not be discovered.
Well, let's find out if this gentleman also has bite marks out of his butter. It's Dev, also known as Short Fat Otaku. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
So the 90s word we really got to bring back is tubular.
That
was the best
tubular, yes!
That's good.
And gnarly was great, too.
Oh, man, I remember being like 3 or 4 years old, and my dad gives me Super Mario World on the SNES. Yep. And being a kid, I took a very long time to get to the very end of it. Because you know how there's the Star Road area where there's a bunch of secret levels, and the final, like the special levels, were all named after 90s terms, like tubular.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was just like, I was like, what is tubular? Because I mean, I didn't know what it was, but still, that's what I now associate 90s terminology with.
Yep, my brothers and I had to ask our mom, "What's that tubular?"
I remember vividly, even back in like 1991, being like, I don't think anybody uses these words, like as a kid, but yeah, man.
Pro-Jam and Earl was really hip. I do remember that back in the day.
Yeah, and I mean, Earthworm Jim said groovy a lot.
That
true. Kind of became a thing.
That's true.
Oh man, this is good times back here. Like, and these are the super hard levels as well. Like if you're the ultra gamer, these are the games that and the levels that you played against. And I, as a super hardcore video game Mario player, the one that truly gave me difficulty was the one where you blow up as the balloon. What I'm talking about?
Yeah, and the entire level's a pit, and you got to float through and get new balloons. Yeah, I remember that one.
Sucked, but yeah, I think that was tubular, but.
Oh, it might have been actually, yeah. So I recall, when you're a kid and you're on the playground and you get gamer cred for beating these levels. I got my gamer cred for beating those levels, but I have to admit I did it a bit duplicitously because I had one of those ASCII controllers that had turbo fire.
Oh,
so I cheated a bit, and no one ever knew. Now I have to admit it.
For shame. For shame, you cheating son of a bitch. Oh man, well I had Game Genie. I love Game Genie, so it's all right. You know, it is what it is. We all had our vices back in the day. But
I think I still have my SNES Game Genie somewhere. Man,
good,
as soon as you figured out, like I recall, you flip through the code book, right? And it says like you put in this code, and then if you're like a curious kid, you can change one letter of the code and see what it does, and you realize, oh, this is actually like it's not just magic codes in a book; it's changing something about the way the game works, right? So you could like the infinite, so like the you have 10 lives code. Oh, it's actually one letter different from you have infinite lives code, and then at least for me. It got me into like just very, even though this is very rudimentary, the idea that you could program something, right? And so when I got a bit older, I got into like the RPG Maker community online and like making your own video games and computer programming. But the gateway to that for me was the Game Genie for sure.
Did you ever play Build Your Own Net Dream Beyond?
No, I didn't. I haven't even heard of that.
That is it's so niche. I haven't met anybody else who did that, but it was a bunch of just like indie. It was kind of like Game Maker before Game Maker from way back like 2002 or something. I can't remember, but they had like a Yu-Gi-Oh card game thing on it, and it was called Duel Monsters. The best Yu-Gi-Oh game ever was off that little indie Build Your Own Net Dream platform. It was so good.
Man, I got to be honest. I love hearing you guys talk like this. This is so fun. It's so fun to hear you guys talk about this shit. It's outstanding. But at the end of the day, yes, sir.
Well, no, I've never heard of Build Your Own Net Dream, but I was active in the RPG Maker community in like 1999.
Okay.
I would have been pretty young, but it was the same kind of thing where like you download a program and it basically it's a rudimentary engine to build Final Fantasy type games.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big thing during the 2000s. There's a lot of deep lore from like Forgotten Forms and old games that were actually really good for the time, you know. And some of those went on to make indie games now, so like, you know, it worked out for some people at least.
This is the most nerdy 7 minutes to start the show we've ever had.
I love it.
And it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, we saw that one coming for sure. So here we go, man. We're going to have a great show today. We'd like to remind you guys we are live over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. Come join us over there. Hit the follow button. Join the almost 6,000 people who have joined us over there. Also, we have an X account where you can find out who's going to be on the show. You could have found out that Melanie was going to be on the show, that Devil's going to be on the show, and here we are. We're on the show. So you could have known this already just by hitting the follow button over there. We also have an Instagram account, don't we, Blabs?
We do, and no one's going to get a wedgie today.
Oh.
Just a punch.
Just a punch.
Okay.
Okay, good.
An uppercut or a falcon punch?
You know what? Both, all of them. Wham!
Falcon punch. Ignore that. We also are live over at kick.com/sidestrollers. Join us over there as we slowly migrate our Twitch, our former Twitch viewers over there, which we like to see you guys popping in over there. Currently sitting at 54 subscribers. Let's go. We're going to drive that up to a big old triple digit soon. I can't wait for that. It's going to be great.
Are you moving off Twitch? Is that the plan?
We are off Twitch. Yes, our last day was at the end of January. I can't deal with that platform. I can't deal with it.
You can't deal.
You can't even deal.
Were you banned, or was it like you're just done with it?
No, we weren't
They'll ban you for anything over there.
Yeah. No, we just decided to be proactive about it, and the platform itself is just a mess. I can't. They're always flipping and flopping on rules. They are such giant hypocrites, and I realize there's a little bit of that on every single platform. I get it, but at the same time, Twitch is just a giant asshole. Just the platform as a whole is just a giant asshole. So.
I think Twitch just beggars can't be choosers right now. They need to be very selective with bans at this point since they're struggling so hard with creators.
Yeah, it seems like the only thing keeping Twitch up right now is the Amazon Prime stuff, right?
And they're about to ruin that.
Yeah. Man, so I mean, Craig, you and I are both older fellas, you know. We were around in the 2000s doing internet content. So like you remember how Twitch was once perceived like 15 years ago, right? And it was the place to be. It was a booming site. It had an amazing site culture. All the biggest names were on there. If you wanted to grow, that's where you went. And they squandered all of it. You know, Twitch used to be the big name for streaming, and now it's a joke.
Yep. Well, I think a lot of that came from simply having competition for the first time. And that's really what you saw was they had cornered a market, a very specific niche. And it led to them ultimately obviously being acquired for $1 billion cash. And they went, that's the most amazing thing about Twitch is the second that they saw any sort of competition, they started to fold and their knees started to buckle. Like you're in a boxing match. They're like, oh, and they're like, it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see the total shift of acceptance. Even like even YouTube is more acceptable from a game streaming perspective. Rumble obviously is making its way. Kick for sure. It's crazy, man. It's crazy to see. So anyways.
Yeah. So I knew a guy who worked at Twitch. This was 10 years ago now. So the information's out of date, but I still think it's relevant. He worked there for a few years and he said that it was basically just like a hollowed out corpse where everyone was inside of it. They were all working. They were all doing jobs that really didn't provide any value to the company. And they were just coasting on what legitimately talented people had done before. And they were hoping it wasn't going to break down. And every time it broke down, it was like, it was a big emergency and it took them months to fix it. And they're just like, well, we'll just hope that the people who left our company, whatever they built, will just keep running and we'll just coast. And now he left like 9 years ago, right? I can only imagine it's gotten worse since then.
Yeah.
So,
that sounds accurate.
I have been inside the belly of the beast many times in downtown San Francisco. I've been to their office, had many meetings there. And when you think of just the West Coast company bloat of just all the bullshit that you don't need to run a company, all the superfluous, like the thing I always go back to is they had a room just for a massage therapist to massage people.
Yeah, like, I remember that. I saw it.
Like, oh yeah, snacks, cool. Snacks, drinks, awesome. That's great stuff. How about you just lie down and grab a massage for an hour? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
sounds like Twitter.
It's the same type of thing.
I think it was last year. There was that one woman who worked at LinkedIn who went viral for like, here's my day at the life at LinkedIn, and it was the cushiest job of doing no actual work. And right now, like I don't know if you guys have paid attention, but like in January 2024, a bunch of tech platforms are cutting jobs, all the people who are going first, the people who went viral making videos about how easy their job is, they're all going.
Rightfully so, man, because it is an absolute joke, and the bubble is bursting in real time, and that's actually I think a big part of what today's conversation is going to be about, specifically when it comes to Xbox and some of the news that's coming out there. We'll get to that in a little bit, but if it is your first time popping in, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and join the 66,187 common sense lovers in the video game space. Do us a favor, guys. Our goal. I put this out on Twitter yesterday. Our goal by Friday, and I would love to hit it during the show, is to get 66,666 subscribers hit on that show. So get the word out there. Let people know, because I do think if that happened, Melanie Mac may burst into flames.
Evil! Evil!
get all the sixes on our subscribers, which would be great. So that should be our goal. If we can hit, that's a big push. It's 500 new subscribers for a podcast channel by Friday in 4 days. So we need to average like 175 a day. So get out there, spread the word, let people know. This is not a bit. This is serious stuff. Melanie may die.
It's true. It's important. We need to hit these numbers. Like my heart rate is slowing as we speak.
Oh no.
Every subscriber, it helps my heart rate go back up.
You guys have been killing it. You know, like you came back a year ago?
Yeah. In February. Coming up, we have our big celebration February 15th. Yeah, next week in
that's right. Yeah.
9 days. So yeah, really excited about that. It's gonna be fun. So we're off to a good first year. Got a long ways to go. But so anyways, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Our goal is always 500 likes, and our goal is always 25 memberships every single show. And we're off to a killer start as Jonathan Abear came in before the show with 10 gifted memberships. Look at that right there. And not to be outdone, CR Vox, that gifted machine fool, came in with 10 more. Look at that. Let's get you guys on the wall right there. Thank you very much for what a great start. Great start, guys. That puts us at 20 for the day, 5 short of our goal. Let's get on that. And Blabs, how about you read off some of these other super chats to start the show while I put these fine mother suckers on the wall.
All right, Antelope the Greek for $1.99. Dev made side scrollers late. Actually, yeah, we were too busy talking gaming. So
Yep, sorry. Sorry, that was me.
Antelope the Greek also came back and says, "Where is the beast?" I don't know.
We'll find out once we hit all those 6s. The beast will.
Say,
the beast will be revealed.
Kyle came in for $1.99 and says, "Shout out to Drake, a blessed man." That is all. Yes, we'll talk about that later. Kratos, hi Kratos. Rad and Pogs were just slightly before my time.
Pogs was before your
let's
time?
go.
What is that?
Pogs is a Twitch thing up for poggers, like Pogs.
Oh no,
PogChamp, right?
No, we're talking about Pogs from 1991. Pogs.
I didn't know there was something before that.
Oh, yes.
This is specific to
Well,
Craig.
that's better because I cringe so much when people use Twitch lingo, Twitch emote lingo IRL. They're just like, "Oh, poggers." I'm like,
yeah. Oh God, I've seen.
I hate the word fam. Hate it.
So before Pogs was PogChamp or Poggers from Twitch, Pogs were a stack of they were cardboard or some type of the compressed paper, and they were circular discs, and you would stack them up. And then you have a slammer. Yeah, there's the video of it. Yeah, you have a slammer. It was a metal one, and you and your friends would gather around the stack, and then you'd whack the stack with your slammer, and whichever ones came off the stack, you got to keep because they were all collectible.
Okay.
This was like a collectible thing in like 1991. I would have been in kindergarten or something.
Yeah, that is much cooler.
This was a schoolyard thing. It was a very big. For me, this was middle school. Pogs were like, whoa! It was a pretty big deal, and it's they're just pieces of cardboard. It was so stupid.
I had the little rubber bands that were shaped of animals and all that, where you like elastic bands. I had all that, but then I also had Beyblades in like the 5th grade.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, I remember Beyblades too.
I had
Beyblades were cool, man. I had a bunch of them.
Beanie Babies.
I was all about the Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies, the Furbies, the Trolls. I refuse to give up my Trolls and Furbies. They're in like this giant tote bin in my basement, and there's like
that's awesome.
I love Furbies and Trolls. The Rush Trolls. Yeah.
I recall schools having to ban Pogs because kids were losing them in their matches. They had to ban Tamagotchis because they were going off during class.
I
loved those.
Yeah.
Like 5 of them.
Well, I had one called a Gigapet, which was the same thing, but my mom never knew how to say it. And we'd be out playing, and mom would open the door, and she'd be like, "Kids, your Gigapet is hungry."
Hey, listen, I got to be honest. I don't even care what we do the rest of the show. If we're just sitting there talking about Pogs and Gigapets and bullshit like that. Screw Xbox. Get out of here. Whatever.
I just got a Tamagotchi. It just come in from Amazon yesterday. They have Jujutsu Kaisen ones. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. So I have a Gojo one. I haven't played it yet.
Bandai,
but,
right?
I'm not sure.
Bandai
but
Namco? I think
it's Bandai,
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I got my Gojo Tamagotchi, so once I can get my hands off of Pokemon Leaf Green, I'm gonna hop into that.
That's right, man. See, listen, Androsky knows this is real gaming right here.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, a real gaming podcast. We don't spend a lot of time talking about those press X to win cinematic story game thing, pretend games. We talk about real games here,
like Tamagotchis.
Yes.
Show me them Pogs. Let's go.
Your Beyblades. Oh man.
And Webkins. Does anyone here have Webkins?
I remember Webkins. I had one. It was like a chihuahua looking thing. I had one, yeah.
And like freaking Club Penguin. You know what's funny? I actually made a Club Penguin account when I was in college. I got really bored in class one day, and I was like, and I made an account with my friend, and I made it very like crude.
Oh wow, I liked Neopets. Neopets is what made me major in web development in college, because I spent like my teenage years learning how to do HTML, and I would make people pet pages with all the cool backgrounds and stuff. I remember making one for Blood Rain once. And yeah, so I just like pimp out these Neopet pet pages, and I was like, I want to do this for a job.
So, any Maple Story enjoyers?
Yes, I actually did dabble in some Maple Story, and then I played a lot of those. I want to say it was Nexon games. Like, there's this game called Gunbound. I was obsessed with Gunbound. So good. It's like those Worms 3D type games.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay. The best part about this entire conversation is that all of it can basically be summed up as stuff we did in school when we should have been like, studying or whatever.
Right.
Like Newgrounds games and stuff. It's like I'm just slacking off.
Newgrounds was great. I loved watching the animations and stuff on there. So funny.
There was a there was a game that so when I was employed, I was probably I think I was 23, 24 years old. I was working in a big old sports bar that had, but I ran the TVs. Like I was like, at the time there was no I was like the TV controller guy. I helped set it up and I'd make sure everything was put in the right spots and stuff. And more or less nobody knew what I did for my job except for me. Like I was given this job to do, and it was like the easiest job in the world. So that I'd go away for like, down below the bar, there was where all the TV equipment was and all the tech equipment was and all the everything. And there was a computer down there. So I would go away for like 2 hours at a time and just play games, play like stupid PC games on the computer while I was at work and getting paid for it. It was awesome. It was great, man. That was my club.
Oh yeah.
It was stupid fun.
Every once in a while, you can get a job like that where you have the freedom to slack a bit. Like I was the computer guy for a grocery store in high school, it's like it's the most nonsense stuff because it's a computer that's hooked up to the cash registers, and sometimes you got to go out and change like the price tags. It's a really boring job, but the perk is that I had a little office in the back of the store that no one else ever went to, and had a computer. And for half of my shifts, I just hung out and played video games.
Right. Oh my god. Alejandro came in and says, "You old farts, that level triggers my 2-year-old self memories. Hard as fuck. Died like 250 times on Tubular." Oh, yes, talking about Mario World right there. Orthodox Monks came in and says, "Did you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses on PlayStation 2, Melanie? Can we get a remaster of that?"
Oh, no, I didn't. I just played the Bion Duel Monsters, and I played Struggle Yu-Gi-Oh! And what that was my brothers and I, we had a bunch of football cards, those cheap, like, you get like the big boxes of them. And we'd write on a piece of paper like Pot of Greed. And we would write the names of the cards and tape it on the inside. And so we would play Yu-Gi-Oh! That way since we couldn't afford all the cards.
Oh, man. So I didn't play that one, but I played on the GameCube Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom. And that was an incredible game. No one's ever heard of it, but it's a great game. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom.
On point, Mark came and says, I was dethroned by Dev. There's a new top nerd.
Oh!
Hey, Mark.
Hayden came in and says, Side Scrollers leaves Twitch. Then Pokimane leaves Twitch. Coincidence?
She's not a trendsetter. She's a follower.
Follow the leaders, baby.
Suspicious.
Toma came in and says, I think the first RPG Maker game I was recommended to play was Legend of Queen Opala. That was a game. Google that at your own discretion. Blabs, go and Google that really quick. Legend of Queen Opala. We'll just look at your facial reactions and see what happens there. Thank you very much, Toma. Greatly appreciate that support.
I think I know what that one is.
Silver Camaro came in and says, Dev, you type B. Koiko? Koiko? Okay, sounds good.
Wow,
I can
she
smell
got
the
big titties.
Yep. A lot of RPG Maker games are just
Hang
porn.
on. We
just
have
like
a perfect
Sims.
video for that. Hang on.
Have you seen
something?
Some huge boobies.
Oh, thank you, Kara. Appreciate that. That's good. By the way,
Like, I can't even see half of them. They've been censored.
what a
That's
shame.
funny.
By the way, saw Kara this weekend over at MegaCon. Wonderful young lady. Met her and her husband. Just so great. She's been on the show many times, and it's great to actually give her a hug and say hi to her and take selfies with her and stuff. It was great.
She's amazing.
She's super tiny.
I know, she's so petite. She's so cute.
To finish that up, says, I can smell the potato stench from here. Tell Craig what Measurehead taught you about superior. I don't even know what this says.
So that it's all stuff from the game Disco Elysium, and those are all like in-game slurs for a fictional like sub-race of people.
Oh,
All right.
And
that's offensive.
so I'm playing through Disco Elysium on my channel, and that's a guy from my community who decided to troll a bit. So that's basically it.
Shane came in with 5 gifted memberships. That's spectacular. Thank you very much, Shane, for that. If you guys got a gifted membership, make sure you say thank you. Not to be outdone, Adam came in with 10 gifted memberships. That is ridiculous. Once again, we are currently sitting at 40 memberships for the day right now. Thank you very much, Adam. And Rob on Wheels came in with 5 more. Man, let's go, y'all. Thank you very much.
This is an amazing episode so far. We're just starting strong.
Boy, what a great start, man. Kicking the crap out of it. We can't even get into hard news. Pushup says, Vidal told me Craig didn't remember push-ups. Heartbroken. How could you forget the guy who pays to call you old? Push-ups. If Vidal's the one I'm speaking of, I don't remember push-ups being brought up over the weekend, but how could I forget you? Like, if someone say, hey, do you remember push-ups? Like, I'm going to be honest, the first thing that comes to mind is actually doing push-ups. Not push-ups 2, 3, 4, 5, but push-ups. I value and appreciate you, and I want to let you know that. Matthew came in and says, can we get Tarl Warwick, Sticks and Hammer 666 and Melanie Mack on the show when you reach all the 6s? Need to be on Friday if that's the case. Matthew, appreciate that. Chris says, get Gutex on the show, Craig, the OG Pog champ.
Oh, that would be interesting because hasn't Gutex gotten canceled and stuff anyway?
Wow.
He would be a good candidate because he got canceled for Gutex.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure because it was all the COVID stuff. Because he didn't buy into all the mainstream narrative opinions about the jab and all that. I could be wrong. That's what I think it was about.
Yes.
But yeah,
no,
he got
that's
canceled.
not what it was. So I decided to look it up. So Gutex, he's the original PogChamp guy, the Asian guy doing the face. No, it was over the Capitol Hill riot in January 6th.
Oh,
that's what was going on.
Now I do remember him tweeting about stuff.
He might have,
like that. So I probably just got it mixed up. But there we go.
Yep.
So
the OG.
Why does he look like Filthy Frank?
Well, that was.
Didn't they take his emo off of Twitch as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
they took it down.
So retarded.
And they said we can't, even though it's one of the most iconic Twitch emotes, we can't have it up because 10 years later he said stuff we don't approve of. And then there was such a fan backlash. They decided to make the emote rotating emote. So now whenever you say it, it is like a bunch of different people who are doing the same face.
That's
Right.
stupid. So it's such a stupid tone deaf thing by Twitch.
Oh yeah.
Like God, Twitch just drives me crazy. I'm so glad we're not on there anymore. Emperor Creatine came in and says, hey Dev, remind me, what's Zoe Quinn's favorite fast food joint? This year is the 10th anniversary of the Big GG, and I can't wait for all the remembrance articles from the usual suspects.
That would be Five Guys. That'd be Five Guys, of course. That's an old meme, but it's a good one. Oh man, I think I'm gonna do like a big GamerGate retrospective at the 10-year anniversary. Because
nice.
I was there, man. You know, me and Sargon and a bunch of other people, we were all hanging out in like the same Skype group talking about this stuff 10 years ago. It's been a long time.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Because GamerGate's been brought up several times in the last month or so for various reasons, right?
Okay.
You say you were there.
Yeah.
I was around at that time, but I was pretty oblivious to it, right? I saw
Same. I was just like I didn't even understand what was going on, and I didn't even become aware of it until later.
And here's the thing. I will say this. Most people that I've spoke to are in the same boat. They've heard of GamerGate, but they don't really know what GamerGate is, right? And so there's two very big definitions. The one on Wikipedia is that it was like a harassment campaign against women who were, and all that stuff. And then there's it was about journalists, and it was about journalist integrity. Okay. So those are the two very different sides, and obviously one is the mainstream narrative that's you see on Wikipedia, and then there's the one that like the people who I guess were fighting, I guess, in GamerGate. So from your perspective, what was GamerGate, Dev?
So even though I was on the journalistic side, and I still am, I think if we're going to talk realistically, it was probably a bit of both, because I also remember seeing definitely some bad apples who were actually harassing women, right?
Sure.
And in fact, when last time I was on Side Scrollers, I had recently talked to Brianna Wu, who hated me during GamerGate, but we built a bridge and patched things up. I was on Wick TV's channel. We had like a let's talk about this 9 years later, right?
Yes.
And so she was on the anti-GamerGate side, and I was on the pro-GamerGate side. And we had an opportunity to like describe our positions to each other, right? And there was definitely some harassment. So it's people who say that there wasn't, I think they're just coping. There definitely was some.
Right.
But there was also a real point to it as well, because you had the reason that Five Guys Burgers and Fries became a meme is because you had the indie game developer Zoe Quinn, who was making games and having articles published about her. Her games are being covered. She was going to like certain events and being covered positively by various game journalists, but she was having sex with these journalists. And the reason this came out is because her ex-boyfriend published an account of the 6 months while they were dating, where she had sex with the five guys who were five journalists, cheating on him doing so, right? And that was her way of basically making connections in like the indie game development and the game journalist scene. She was having sex with these guys. Now, an inside joke that no one remembers anymore is that he, rather than calling his article Five Guys, he almost called it Two Greyhound Buses, because she actually cheated on him that number of people. Two Greyhound buses worth of people. But only 5 of them were actually part of the game story, right? Like the game industry story. But she actually cheated on him a lot. But
wow.
Now on the one hand, like it's pretty trashy to do, but like it's her private life, and I don't really care that much about it. Like it's funny and we can laugh about it, but it's not a big deal for the big story.
Right.
The big story is that 5 of those people were people she had sex with to promote her career. And then they turned around and they were publishing articles about her and talking about her projects and not disclosing the relationship.
Oh,
and so that story, it went viral, but then a whole bunch of internet autists like me and like Sargon and like other guys in our sphere, we started digging up like, well, what else have these people done? You know, what other connections are there that no one's being told about? And so we found a whole bunch. I mean, I think when I was here last, Craig, I mentioned the Fez situation, right, with Phil Fish and the money. Yeah, so like we started discovering real corruption here, and we're putting out YouTube videos, and the entire industry of indie developers and games journalists, they basically turned their backs on their own fan base in response. And it was the first time that really happened, where you had this. It was one of the first internet culture wars, and it was this kind of top-down situation where you had people who had these. I mean, it is positions of power, but not really, because it's just like gaming stuff. But within the community, it's a position of power, and they're talking down at their own audience who are demanding accountability.
Okay.
So it sounds like there was, as in most cases, there's one story, and then there's another story, and it's somewhere in between, right?
Yeah.
It may have originated here, and somewhere along the way, you know, they melded together. And, you know, as in most situations, there are bad apples, and that's from all sides, whether it was people looking for the journalistic integrity or the developers or whatever it may be. It's really interesting stuff. On a side note, did you see the Brianna Wu stuff this past week, where she was kind of like, was I the bad guy? Kind of like that was kind of her.
Yeah, she has been going through what I went through with the left back in like 2010, right? Because when I was like an 18-year-old communist, you know, I got a minor in gender studies when I was in university. I have a literature degree, completely useless stuff, right? But I did learn about how this sort of like progressive radicalism operates from the inside out. And then when I left that sphere and kind of, you know, worked a few blue collar jobs and kind of came back down to earth a bit, I was kind of armed with some knowledge of how these things work, so I can talk about them not just from like an irrational hatred point of view, but saying, oh, here's the actual problems from the inside, right? And she's going through what I went through. I think what happened with her is she's been watching my videos for a while, and she didn't quite buy what I was saying when I was critiquing the left. But after the October 7th attacks in Israel, and she saw how many leftists came out just with a bunch of hatred, she's like, "Oh my God!" You know, it was that one scene where the guy's like, "Are we the baddies?" And he's wearing like the Nazi uniform. She's like, "Oh my God! Like, who have I allied myself with all this time?" And that doesn't mean that like she's changed on like policy prescriptions. She probably still wants universal healthcare and things like that. But in terms of just the underlying ideology and the philosophy, she's really backing away from a lot of the stuff right now. And she's kind of going through that journey at this point.
She had a pretty viral tweet that went off where she was kind of this was one of those was I the bad guy type of tweets, you know? Just kind of, you know, it was really interesting to see. We did a segment about it last week, but it's really interesting to hear your perspective on this because as somebody, like I said, who was looking at it, you know, you hear it, GamerGate, right? And there are people who are like pissed. They were pissed at me that either you didn't say anything or you don't know it. Like, how do you not know about it? If you don't know about it, you don't care. And it's like, because I was too busy worrying about my business. You know, like I was too busy worrying about my employees. I was too busy, you know.
Were you still doing Screw Attack at that time?
This is 2014? Yeah. I was still at, so, I mean, put this in perspective. I sold the company in 2013 and in 2014, I would have been a 1 year into my deal with Full Screen. I had a 3-year deal to stay with them. So yeah, I would have been 1 year. I would have been doing my best to just worry about my own shit and make a good impression on the company that just bought my company, right? So like I didn't really, was like it was on the radar, but very, very far away.
Yeah. So what I recall is that from like 2011 to 2014, you had online spaces kind of move incrementally more leftward over time. You had like Atheism Plus, where like the atheism community kind of got co-opted by what we called like social justice back then, right? And it's less about atheism and more about like certain correct politics. And that happened in a lot of spaces. And then it got to gaming, and GamerGate was the pushback. And it was the first time it actually got pushback, which is why I think people view it as significant. You still get like journalists 10 years later who were traumatized by GamerGate. And it's like, well, it's because it was the first time you actually had an L, you know? But what I remember is that everyone who was in the gaming space, whether it was like a website like yours or that guy with the glasses or whoever, or whether it was a journalistic outlet like a Destructoid or something,
sure,
or like any YouTuber, anyone who talked about games had to have a position on GamerGate. And you had woke people, we now call them woke people, saying you have to come out and use your platform to speak against the misogyny in GamerGate. But then you also had people who were like, hold on, you're going to come out against gamers now? I'm sure you remember that collage of all the Gamers Are Dead articles all coming out in the same day. It's like, you guys are coming out against your own audience here. You think it's going to end well for you when everyone stops like watching your videos and reading your articles? You're not getting clicks from everyone anymore? Like, what do you think you're doing here? And I mean, a lot of those outlets are dead now, you know?
I remember at that time I was more doing like video game hosting and stuff. I want to say I can't remember exactly, but maybe that's when I was doing my stuff with Riot Games, and so I wasn't super in that. I kind of vaguely remember like on streams and stuff, people, what's your opinion on GamerGate? I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like,
yeah,
How dare you?
There was this push. There was a push more from the left, but definitely from both sides, that if you were a public figure in this space, you had to have an opinion. And if you weren't, someone was going to cancel you.
That sounds very familiar. It sounds like 2020 all over again, you know?
Yep.
Very, very much. And guess what? There will be more of those in the future in the gaming space. And anytime something, 100%. There'll be some other thing that pops up where people are like, you need to make a statement about it. You know, you need to do this. You need to do better. You need to give us your opinions right now. And no, I'll give you my opinion when I want to give you my opinion.
Exactly. That was so cringe during like all the BLM stuff too. It was like, if you're a streamer and you're a streamer or content creator and you haven't spoken out about this and given an opinion yet, I see you being complacent. We know who you are. And I'm just,
silence is violence.
Goodness, right. I just want to play games. Plus, I'm seeing cities get burned down and stuff. I was like, I don't know if I really want to support this.
yeah. Gamergate was the first time that mentality really took hold in a big way. I do think though that we're over the hump because they're still trying to cancel people for that, but it's a lot less effective now. You have a lot more people just saying, "I'm tired of this shit. I don't care." People are like, drag this guy on Twitter. The guy's like, "Fuck you. I'm not." Like people are just more tired of it now, and I think in the next few years you're going to see that type of canceling go away just because no one cares anymore. It's not effective anymore. The dog piles aren't there anymore. I think it's going away.
I agree. And you know what the best way you can counter that is just say fuck off. Like really that's it doesn't matter. And I think Bill Maher of all people,
fuck off, you oversensitive little shit.
Thank you, Bill. There you go. That's Bill for us right there. That's the best thing he could potentially say. Well, thanks for that, Dev. I appreciate the education on that. That's makes me feel a little more informed.
No problem. I think there's one more aspect to it, but I can't remember it right now. If it comes to me, I'll let you know.
I'll tell you when the anniversary comes back, it'd be really good to do. And Blabs, this is a good conversation to have. We can do a GamerGate retrospective roundtable where we bring in people from all sides to talk about it. I think that'd be a really interesting conversation.
You can call Brianna Wu up. She's going on lots of shows right now. She has no problem. Yeah.
Let's get her on. Let's get the Zoe Quinn girl on. Let's get them all on.
She's not going to do it. No fucking way. There's no fucking way. Oh, no.
Oh, because she had a lot of... I do remember some guy unalived himself, and he had beef with her, and she had people dogpiling him. He was like an indie game dev. Is that correct?
Yeah, he made the game Night in the Woods.
Right. And that's how I first heard about Zoe Quinn, because I just remember this. She got him canceled and had a bunch of people go after him on Twitter and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he unalived himself over it. It was insane.
I think he also ended up being like canceled out of his indie studio, which is why it happened. Yeah. So, he got big making Night in the Woods, which is a pretty good game. Like it's one of those walking simulators, but it's really well done.
Right.
And and because he was kind of in that more progressive space, he had like nothing to fall back on. He genuinely believed in progressive morality, and then when he lost everything, there was nothing left for him. And he already had the history of depression, so he ended up
And it was that, and just the cancel culture in general that really made me realize just how cruel a lot of these progressive type people were in the gaming industry and stuff, and how they're constantly dogpiling people who thought differently or had different opinions than them on this, that, or the other. And that's when I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not about this. I do not like that.
There was this view from the people who were pro Gamergate during Gamergate that like the game journalists were supposed to have our backs because gamers were pretty maligned in the 90s. If you played video games, you got bullied. You weren't getting any attention from girls when you were in the 90s, right? It's just kind of how it was.
Yeah.
It was the nerdy thing to do. And then when you had the religious right wing come after video games in the 90s, they wanted to censor games. They're saying they're violent. They're saying they're too they're too sexual. There was that legendary bit where Jeff Keighley goes on Fox News to defend Mass Effect. That was back in 2007 or 2006. Who is that lawyer who wanted to get video
Jack Thompson?
Yes, you know who I'm talking about. Yep. He was part of this, right? And so there was this view among gamers like, okay, well, the religious right of the 90s and 2000s hates us, but we do have people in our corner, and these people are a little bit older than us, and maybe they're a little bit more educated, but they're in these middle positions of power where they have a platform and they're talking about using these gaming outlets, and we expect them to have our backs whenever something big goes down with gaming, like Jeff Keighley did on Fox News. And so when Gamergate comes around, all of these people turned on gamers. They just turned on them and said, nope, because now we were critiquing them, right? It's like, well, hold on, are you guys being corrupt here? Like, what's going on? So they immediately turned on their audience. And then there was this, there's this general belief. It's like, oh, we've now discovered something. And what it is all the people that bullied us in school, they never really left. They just, once gaming got more culturally accepted and popular, they became gamers, and now they're working in these institutions.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like you guys shat on us when we were 10 years old, And now that we're 25 or 30 or 35,
Yep.
now you're the people telling us what to do in gaming. It's like, hold on, what the fuck? Like,
Exactly.
you guys bullied us when we were younger, you know? Yeah.
So then they waltzed in on our hobby, and then they wanted to change everything. Oh wait, we don't like that all the girls are really attractive, the girl characters. We don't like this, that, or the other. This needs to be more inclusive. These games need to be easier. People need these need to be more accessible for everybody to play. This is too hard. And now we've got all these walking simulators where you just press X to win as the mainstream game.
That's definitely part of it, but I don't think that these are people who are like ideologically committed to some sort of progressivism. I think that they're bullies first, and they have a moral system that allows them to bully people and feel good about it.
That makes sense. And a lot of that progressive ideology is it puts them in a position to look virtuous while they're bullying.
Yeah.
So they're able to just play victim or try to pretend like they have the moral high ground while they're just using all of that to bully people.
Yeah. So I think if we lived in like an alternate universe where it was inverted, where it was a much more traditional society, and like we had a lot more religious extremism, for example, these people would still be part of these institutions, but they would be bullying from the religious perspective. They say, you're not pure enough. You're not, they'd have the same, it'd be the same argument, and they'd be doing the same thing, because it's not so much the ideology, it's who they are as people. They're just ugly people.
Right.
That's what I think anyway.
What an interesting thing that I totally missed in 2014 that we still hear about today. I'll tell you what.
Oh man, there's so much more to it too. There's so much deep lore. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you actually watch my content, but if you're interested,
Yes.
when I do the big video bringing down everything, I'll send it to you.
Please,
I'm gonna do the full thing.
We'll have, like I said, I would love to set that up. So I was looking at it. Looks like this happened in late summer 2014. So maybe we can line up having you back. Obviously, we'll have you on many times before then, but we can also have you on to promote that as well. The big release of that video.
Sure.
It should be good. So.
And I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of people from back then. I can ask them if they want to come on too. I can like ping Sargon or something and see who's still around from the old days.
From the old days.
Yeah.
All right, we haven't even got into the news yet, but this has been such a good discussion. I love it.
Sorry about that. Sorry about all the sidetracks.
It's been a great show, just full improv mode.
Yeah, been fun. Hey, Scotty says, don't lie, Craig. You had Pogs and Jelly Slammers from your Nintendo Power subscription back in the day.
Did Nintendo Power subscriptions give those?
I don't think they gave away Pogs, but they gave away cards.
So.
They gave away like trading cards. Those were awesome.
Yeah, I had some of those. Oh man, I had every time. Okay, I don't know. Do you remember this, Craig? I got to just ask you this. Do you remember this? When you get your 12-month resubscription, I was like 8 or whatever. So my mom did it for me. But it's like you get a free player's guide with your 12-month resubscription. Oh man, I still have all of them on my bookshelf. All the old player's guides. Man,
I still have Nintendo Power. I have Nintendo Powers in my closet, like on the other side of this camera. Like I love Nintendo Power. It's my absolute favorite. Mark came in and says, Dev, Melanie too loves the F slur.
It's a great word.
It is.
Peter says, remember Alf? He's back in Pog form. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that. Antoine says, Pogs, fat ass white girl. Craig, show me them Pogs. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Antoine. Eric says, Yu-Gi-Oh! Game Boy GBA game collection leaked recently. Oh, okay. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
Chernobog says, anybody play slime soccer back in the day?
No.
Don't quite recall slime soccer. Aiden says, hey, Craig, I'm impressed you met up with Critical Drinker. He's pretty entertaining and informative. I love the catchphrase, go away now. He's great.
He's great.
Really, really good dude. I told this story. I met him at the airport. Me and Beardo went to go pick him up. And he flew in, and the first thing we did was went to a bar. It's not just a bit. The guy loves to drink. Silva Camaro came in and says, embarrassing as an early Zoomer like me had his horizons broadened by things like COD, by people like Markiplier and Pewds. It's how I found games like Cry of Fear, which is great. Don't care what Dev says. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So, oh man, I like how you're super chatting more to Craig than to me in an average stream, dude. Okay, so what happened there basically was he paid me to play Cry of Fear, if you know what that game is. Like it's like a Half-Life 2 mod that took on
I
a life of its
don't.
own and became like a really good horror game for back in the day.
Mhm.
But it's aged so poorly, it didn't scare me at all. It's like from 20 years ago at this point.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm
Oh.
sorry, dude, but I'm not getting scared by this anymore. But I can see how back then it would have been considered an incredible game.
Right. 20 years will do that for sure. Xander came in, says, last episode you said Dean Cain, when I worked at Babylon Bee, did a cartoon about character forced identity, and he played Superman. In the video, I come in as a cartoon did, and actually, and everyone booed me. Pretty cool. You worked for Babylon Bee. That's awesome. Yeah, we are in talks with potentially having Dean Cain on. It would be pretty fun to have him on for sure. He's been making the rounds. Matthew says, "Thank you for your service in the great meme war." Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. Vinyl Morpheus says, "Question for Melanie Mack. I never played the OG Tomb Raider games, so it's hard to judge the quality of the remasters. Does the dev have a solid track record? The look looks like they do PC ports mostly."
Right. Now, Aspire, from what I've seen with everything, I don't have like a history of playing their ports or anything like that. I know like the KOTOR community kind of have a little bit of issues with them. I don't know the full extent of that, but I will say everything I'm seeing for what they're working on with this Tomb Raider remaster trilogy looks so faithful to the original games, has all of the charm, didn't change too much, has an amazing looking photo mode. I think unless, hopefully there's no like bugs or glitches or anything like that, as long as it actually runs smoothly, I think it looks absolutely perfect.
Man,
Looks like
isn't
the
it
dream. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that we're at a point where it's like, just don't change things from the old game?
I know.
That's all it takes to be successful now, is just don't change it.
And it's funny because I used to always say, okay, I really want the old games remastered, but don't even try to update the graphics, just up-res them. Don't even change them, because I didn't trust anybody to be able to do it right. But Aspire went and did that. Well, you can toggle it if you want just the traditional textures and all that up-resed, you can do that, or you can play with, now they took like the CG model of Lara Croft from back then and just implemented that into, that's what her character model looks like. And so there is these updated graphics now, but that still are faithful to what classic Lara Croft looked like. So they actually exceeded any expectations I could have had.
I am so excited for you, Melanie. I'm so excited.
Oh, I am stoked.
I've been paying attention to a lot of this because like the Persona 3 remaster came out, and apparently they changed some stuff. They censored a bit of the stuff that was fine 10 years ago, but not fine now. You know what I mean?
Right.
They did it with like some of the Grand Theft Auto games. They did it with Baten Kaitos. A bunch of games have just gone through the censorship wheel when getting remastered, and it's like, might as well just play the old ones, man. I still have my GameCube. Like, I can just go back.
That's the thing, is I was really excited when I was like, oh wow, they remastered Baten Kaitos. I remember I loved that game when I was younger. And unfortunately with like the censorship, or sorry, I'm trying to cough. They ruined it.
Get her some water. Get her some water. She's gonna die. We gotta get
man.
Hey, if you think this is bad, wait till we get to 66,666 subs. She'd be
it's coming.
Choking on flames on Friday. She'll be back.
Man, that actually reminds me, because I think it was Adam Sessler way back in the day on G4 did what we would now consider a very racist skit about Baten Kaitos.
Oh, are you telling me that Adam Sessler and all those people are giant fucking hypocrites? What? Are you kidding me?
It was very funny. You can find it on YouTube. It's hilarious, but he would not do it today, you know?
Of course.
And it's like, oh man, a lot of people have just forgotten where they came from, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. And we're the problem. we're the problems. Hey, the Paladin says, great to meet you at MegaCon. Craig, thanks for signing my poster too. Also, Dev, Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Kingdom is amazing, especially when you beat all 3 storylines and get that super final boss fight. Thank you very much, Paladin.
I only beat it once. I couldn't. I didn't have enough rental money to keep going with it. I only rented it. I rented it for a few weekends, and I beat one campaign, and I was like, well, I got to play a new game now. That's how it was back in the day.
That's good. By the way, you said that was an Adam Sessler. What was it? Skit a G4 For what game?
Adam Sessler G4 for Bite and Kaidos.
Spell that for me. Bite, like B-I-T-E?
Batenkaitos. See if I can find it.
Yeah, because I think that'd be really fun to watch that live to see kind of what happens with that. Orthodox Monk says, don't listen to Dev about Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Kingdom, Melanie. It was garbage.
Oh!
No, it wasn't. No, it fucking wasn't.
Here's the thing, though, with Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm very picky, is I like Battle City tournament rules. Like, I really didn't like the regular standard rules, so if I couldn't play just Battle City tournament rules, then I wasn't that interested.
Okay, so Falsebound Kingdom wasn't a traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. It was Ogre Battle, but with every time you got into an encounter on the map, it played out a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game.
Okay.
But you had like units marching around and yeah.
Good old Ogre Battle. That's great. Hey, Big Top came in with a 10. He says, hey, yo, random thought. So if the allegations are true about Vince and my about Vince McMahon and my Steiner math is correct, then Vince McMahon paid more for sex than he did for WCW. have you heard all that stuff? That he has $15 million in hush money for like sexual shit that he's done to women, but he only paid $3 million for WCW back in the day. So he's paid more for Poo Nanny than he did for an entire business, which is crazy. Anyways, thank you, Big Top. DJ Mike Fury says, had a similar experience to Melanie. As I left my grandmother's house, she yelled out loud to me and my friends saying I left my Playboy, my Game Boy.
That is so funny.
That's awesome. 60 Watt says, I'll give you my size 10 opinion where the sun don't shine. Thanks, 60 Watt. Appreciate that. Aiden Press says, BLM is a joke, including their Marxist ideas. Humble Dirt Merchant says, have Zoe on and then everyone pull out Five Guys bags.
Oh my God.
Bring a burger to our mouth. Carlos says, wasn't Zoe Quinn the one that caused the creator of Night in the Woods to unalive himself? Yes, Carlos. Thank you. Tomak came in with another 20. Thank you very much, Tomak. Says, and the moral of the story is to gatekeep harder. Thank you, Tomak. Appreciate that. Scotty says, Dev, what was your favorite player's guide?
Oh, man, it has to be the Earthbound one because it came with the game, right? And it was a pretty good one. They put a lot of soul into those guides, but I think the Earthbound one actually being laid out like it was a travel brochure kind of makes it for me.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
I did find that link you were looking for, by the way, but it's 3 minutes long. I don't know if you want to watch it.
We'll watch it. We'll watch it in a little bit. Let's watch it in a little. Put it in the private chat. Yeah.
Yep. Put it in there.
Great. Jonathan Aver says, on the topic of trying to cancel video games in the 90s, remember when Senator Orrin Hatch of my home state of Utah proposed legislation to go after Mortal Kombat? Yeah, that was pretty gay. Yes, there's and I think it was Lieberman who had the guns from Lethal Enforcer.
Yep.
He had they were like
Sega guns. Yeah.
He was holding up this like bright blue and bright pink guns, and he's like, "Kids are gonna shoot themselves by playing Lethal Enforcers," and it's like they very clearly look like toys. It's so stupid. It's crazy. Lulz It's Forge came in and says, I remember bringing GamerGate up as the host of Hard News at the time, and was told to F off. Kind of why I stopped watching Screw Attack at the time. So let's see, 2014, that would have been probably Sean Hines was the host of Hard News at the time. And that's pretty on brand for him. Sorry about that. Mo Zamboni says, hey, Craig, nice to meet you at MegaCon. Love the intro song, by the way. Best NES game ever. Speaking of drinker, I had a few people wonder if I was him. Lol. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Very, very similar in appearance. Israel R says, remember the Game Pro magazine and the show? That show is what got me interested in gaming. Oh man,
I didn't watch the show, but I had the Game Pro magazines.
Yeah, man.
I have a few of them, but I was definitely like a full Nintendo guy, so I had Nintendo Power instead.
But by the way, we're going to talk about games that got us into gaming in just a little bit. We may need to hold on to that for another time because we've just been going and going and going. We haven't even got to Hard News, which is great. But Zihida says, Craig, you're as tall as a tower. Anime writes deaf characters right. Zabis, I don't even know how to say that. 199. Hey, Z Highness, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. And yes, it's great to meet you out in MegaCon. Silver Camaro says, any opinion on the GTA 6 trailer? The fake outrage covered up real issues with GTA 6 we can see in the trailer takes a bit of tism eye, but it's there.
Well, I like the trailer. I like the fact that it's all references to Florida Man, like Florida Man TikTok. It's like, that's hilarious, man. Because I don't know if you noticed, like every single scene in the trailer is actually a real viral video in real life that they just remade in the game's engine. And it's like, that's neat. So like you see like a guy wrestling with an alligator or someone like running around naked getting arrested by the cops. Those are all viral videos from real life.
I had just like I had this idea that I wanted to put in AI art. I wanted to see Lara Croft wrestling an alligator. And so I typed it in and it said, "Oh, we can't. This is too violent," or something like that on the AI thing. I was like, "Bummer. I want to see that."
Wow. And Ty came in and says, "How come Melanie hates the new modern Tomb Raider games? First was okay."
Okay, let me clear the air here. I don't hate them as games. I think they're fun. They're not what I personally prefer, because I do feel like they do play a lot into what modern gaming does, and it focuses too much on the story and cinematics and not enough on actual compelling gameplay. Way too much just combat for a Tomb Raider game. They've completely changed Lara Croft to unrecognizable in personality and backstory and look and everything. And so my beef is the fact that it's not Tomb Raider. It's something else. Now, if they would have just put different names on the character, different title of the game, I'd be a fan of it and I would still play them. Not as I don't like it as much as Tomb Raider, but it's the fact that it replaced Tomb Raider that has where my biggest issues lie.
Vox came in and says, "I went to Catholic grade school in the 90s and they had to ban us from playing Magic the Gathering because it took over the school. The principal thought it was due to the demonic influence." Thanks, Vox. Appreciate that. Tall person over on Rumble says, "Happy National Frozen Yogurt Day, everybody." All right, let's go. Little fro-yo. Blake says, "Shout out to Mark 8:38. If you're ashamed of Jesus and his word, he will be ashamed of you." Thank you, Blake. Appreciate
That's right.
that. Dude says, "I figured out how Game Genie and Game Shark codes worked while I was deving RH Retro Achievement Chivos achievements. They just overwrite the value of RAM since the place where lives were, you get the same when you booted up the game." Okay, thanks, dude. Appreciate that. And we got a little breaking news, guys. This is kind of interesting. It just dropped. Blabs, thank you for doing a great job of bringing this to our attention. I want to make sure I get to everything on Rumble really quick. Okay, we'll get to those in just a minute. A little bit of a breaking news, and it directly affects the video game journalist space, guys. As put out by Variety this morning, the staff at IGN has voted to unionize over everybody over there in San Francisco, which is pretty interesting. So IGN staff votes to unionize with News Guild and CWA. I don't really know what that means. So we're gonna react to this thing in real time here. IGN employees at IGN, the popular video game and entertainment media site, have announced that they are unionizing with the News Guild CWA labor union. The IGN Creators Guild consists of editorial and creative workers at IGN, which is owned by digital media parent company Ziff Davis. Ziff Davis has been around for a long time. The guild is currently made up of over 80 employees, with 87% of the eligible members signing union authorization cards. The union will be fighting for better pay, layoff protections, measurable steps that increase staff diversity, and more.
They need more deer people.
Mel literally laughed out loud. She literally laughed out loud hearing that.
Here's the thing: you can't have two of those at once, right? You can't have layoff protections and also increasing staff diversity unless you plan to hire a bunch more people, because otherwise you're laying off people to replace them with more diverse people, right? So those two don't work together.
I've seen what my colleagues are capable of, whether they're producing content around blockbuster gaming and entertainment releases, spinning up massive live shows around tentpole industry events, or staying abreast of the daily hum of pop culture and its constant reminder of what's possible when this many smart, talented people work together, said Max Scoville. Oh, not you, Max. senior producer and host at IGN, in a statement. I'm immensely proud of this team and want the best for all of us. IGN is already an industry leader in entertainment media, but it's crucial that we ensure it also continues to be a bastion for the human beings who give it a voice. Oh my God, Max.
So, do you know who Max Scoville is? It sounds like you do.
Yes, I do. I've talked with Max many times. I wouldn't say we're friends by any means, but Max actually worked at Destructoid a long time ago, and he's bounced around. I think he worked at Destructoid. He worked at a company called Revision 3, and now he's at IGN. So here we are. Wow.
So just a curiosity, would you say that he's hot?
I think that Max is he's like on white guy scale and video game space. He's like a 7.
Well,
right?
You didn't get the pun, did you?
No. Oh, Scoville.
Max
I get it.
Max
Aha.
Scoville.
I like it. I like what you did there. I like what you did. It just took me a minute or so. Okay, so here's the thing. These people are gonna get fired.
Yes.
Listen, this is it. Like, this is, mark it down. Here it is. IGN has been a mainstay in the video game world for 20 years. Today is the day that starts the death of IGN. And these people are doing it to themselves. Because in 6 months from now, 30% of this work staff is going to be laid off. Because how do you get money? How do you get raises? By firing other people. and then guess what? They're going to complain about they're overworked. They're overworked. Yeah. Well, it's because you fired a third of your staff to give you more money. Fucking imbeciles. My God.
Yeah. So if you look at the union they joined, has been in operation since 1933, and it was initially founded because you had like newspaper barons who were treating their employees like shit, right? And there's a general rule with unions and one of them is because you actually have an employer who's making a ton of money, and he's actually treating his workers like shit. And it is fair to say, hey, maybe we should give the workers a little bit more because like they're living on pennies while you're just raking in tons of cash. That doesn't seem fair, right? But then the other side of it is when you have an industry that is contracting, like online articles right now, and you're trying just to get more blood out of that stone, and it's not going to work, right? Because how much money do you think there really is in IGN right now, just floating around? Like, do you think those CEOs are actually just raking it in like they're the monopoly man or something? Probably not, because that industry is on its way out, frankly. People. I mean, they said it 15 years ago. People were watching YouTube videos, not reading articles anymore.
Here's a tour of the IGN office. Let's just take a look at how oppressed they are and how downtrodden they are as you walk in and you see this mega corporation. I've been in this office as well in San Francisco, and if we could all just say a prayer for our friends at IGN. Oh, this is back when Greg Miller worked there. Look at that. So you can tell it may be on fire right now because it's such a sad place. But what a sad experience for all these people. And I hope that we can all find a space in our hearts to root for our friends at IGN as they make the worst decisions of their career.
Well, I gotta say, when I was 21 driving heavy machinery around, I would have killed for a job like this, dude. You have no idea.
Exactly. Like, they're sitting there and their power. This is 12 years ago. They're sitting here playing with all the latest technology and all this shit. Like, it's oh my gosh, just drives me crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's an obvious middle ground, right? Because you can definitely have employers who just treat their employees like shit and exploit them and then replace them, and it's terrible. And then you also have places like this where everyone they're basically like the beautiful ones from the mice experiment, where they're just living very very beautiful, glamorous lives, not understanding how good they actually have it. There's a middle ground there for sure. I mean, you ran a company, Craig, and you probably didn't want to rat fuck your employees into the dirt. They were your friends. You wanted to treat them well, but there was also
I literally sold my company so they can make more money.
Yeah,
If anybody ever accuses me of that, go fuck yourself. They all got a check for $100,000. They all got a check for $100,000. I don't ever want to hear anything about that shit.
But it's the same with me. Like I have 2 employees at this point, and I don't want they're my friends. I don't want to ruin them. So
Right.
when necessary, I'll take a little bit less money so they have a little bit more if they need it, right? Like if you're a good business owner, you do this. You actually treat your employees well because then they'll treat you well. And sometimes that means you have some amenities in the office, right? But you can go way too far with that. And I think all of these, you talk about it at the start of the show, I think all the tech companies, they've all gone way too far with it.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Hey, it's me. And HG says they live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, and their move is to possibly jeopardize their jobs. Yeah, fools. God, what a bunch of idiots. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, what a great start. Hey, we're an hour and 10 minutes into the show. What do you say we get into it? It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News.
Hard news.
We
right.
made it.
we did it. This is the latest Hard News intro ever. Let's rapid fire through some of this stuff here. This was really brief, but there's going to be another State of Play today. Did you know this was going to be a thing?
Oh, I didn't know.
Talking about Final Fantasy VII.
I think they announced at the end of their last State of Play last week. They're just doing a Final Fantasy VII exclusive State of Play.
Oh, then I have no
off.
interest because I did not like the Final Fantasy VII remake. I
neither
thought
did
it was just okay. It's only about the cinematic element of it. That's it. Like that's the only draw. I quit playing after several hours. I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
So I think I disagree with you on this because I don't mind cinematic games. I don't mind walking simulators if the story is good. It has to be a good story. There's a lot of shitty stories out there that do that. My problem with it here. So real quick, chat. I'm gonna spoil a bit from the Final Fantasy VII.
Don't
remake.
you do it?
So if you wanna mute for a minute, go ahead. But basically, so my girlfriend's a Zoomer. She never played Final Fantasy VII before. I'm like, listen, you need to fucking play Final Fantasy VII. So we sit down, we play it. She's like, even though I can't really get over the fact that it's really blocky graphics from back in the day, the story's really good. And she got into it just on the characters alone and the quality of the writing, right? So it goes to show how timeless that game is. It's like, great, now the Final Fantasy VII remake comes out. Let's play that. And we play through it. And spoiler, it's revealed at the end that it's not actually a remake. It's a sequel.
Right.
Because they're doing a time loop thing. And they ruined the entire fucking story by doing a time loop thing, and we're just like, "Oh my god! Why?" You feel like you're like getting a bait and switch here, right? You're like, "I want to play that old game that I loved remastered with new graphics." Oh, that's not what it is. Oh, it's actually a sequel. Oh, they're ruining the story of the first game. Oh, enjoy. So now I'm just like, man, do I really care that much? I'm still probably gonna play it because I'm a shill, but like, do I really care that much? No, I don't think so.
I just felt like I was bombarded with cutscenes constantly, and then when you're not watching cutscenes and you're actually playing the game, then it's like, okay, your character has to slow walk because they need to start talking to each other. It's like, I am sick of this. I don't want any more banter. I don't want any more cutscenes. I just want to play the game.
You'll find out more information about that today at 3:30 Pacific time. So that's 5:30 Central time, where if you're keeping track like us here in the central United States. Next up, hey, guess what? It's the middle of February almost, which means it's time for Nintendo Direct. Rumors happening sometime next week. So it should see what happens. Focus on the first half of 2024. They certainly are not going to be announcing a Switch 2.
If it's on the 15th, we can watch it on the 1-year anniversary live stream.
Ooh, Hercules, let's go. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yes. Can't wait for that. So we'll see kind of what happens there. And that'd be real-time fun right there. So it should be great. Anyways, that's pretty much it. It's just a rumor. Nothing announced yet. But yeah, I'm rooting for the 15th to give us more content on that day.
Yes.
All right, let's go to our next one here. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. This could potentially change the video game industry, as Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox, says we will see the, quote, future of Xbox in an event update next week, after there have been lots of reports that they may be getting out of the hardware business and just going all third-party and multi-platform, which that's the most batshit crazy thing I think I've like ever heard. Here's his tweet. Says, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update of event for the next week, where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox."
Well,
And,
Xbox is my least favorite console. So if they did go that third party route, I wouldn't even be that mad at it, to be honest. I haven't played my Xbox One X, whatever the Series X. Can't keep up with the names. I haven't played that in over a year. It's like, yeah, I especially when you can play most of their games on PC anyway.
This is really interesting in that when you think about this, you're like, how fucking stupid. But then when you think about it, you go, oh, it actually makes kind of sense, right? Because
it does.
When you have, if they do pull back and they say, okay, we're no longer going to have an Xbox. We're going to put our games on PC. We're going to put our games on the PlayStation. We're going to put our games on the Switch, right? To a lesser extent, to the Switch. And the idea is, it's just like our strategy. Cast the net as wide as you possibly can, right? Catch as many fish as you possibly can. Why does that work for Xbox? Well, they now own all of these developers.
Right.
They own all these games, all these IPs. They own Activision. They own all the, and now instead of just hoping that they sell an Xbox at a loss, because really you're selling these consoles at a loss, now they can sell way more games, which is insane to think about. But on top of this, the writing is kind of on the wall for this when you really think about this, because just last week we had this story about Xbox reportedly shutting down physical game release divisions, right? So they're laying off all these people, and they're looking. They could potentially make this move, which is, it's really, really bizarre. As Augustus points out, this plan has been in motion for a while now. I know this, like on the surface, it's very shocking because for the last 20 plus years, it's been Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft going at it. Who will reign supreme? And to think that Xbox and Microsoft are just going to bow out from the first party side of things and you'll no longer have an Xbox is really, really bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it makes a lot of sense though, because before, if you go back to really far to like the Sega Nintendo days and then the early Sony days, the differences between the consoles were very extreme, right? Different mediums for the games, different capabilities, the architecture, the programming was all different, right? So you kind of had to make games for one platform or another, and porting them was kind of a job, right? But I think starting around like the PS3 era, you got consoles that were more or less in line with their capabilities with regular PCs. And nowadays, the Switch being an obvious exception, like a PS5 is just a PC. An Xbox Series X is just a PC, right? So it seems like you're in a situation now where the hardware differences, they no longer necessitate you making your own platform. And I think Xbox saw this coming like a decade ago because they started doing the Game Pass thing, right? And now you have now Xbox is primarily a software on your computer rather than a console brand. So I think their game plan was, we'll still build consoles for people who don't have really good PCs. But if you do have really good PC, you can install the Xbox game software. You can buy games through our online platform. And so they just want to get you into the Xbox ecosystem where you buy, it doesn't matter what platform you have, PC or sometimes you can stream it from a tablet. You can do it on your console. As long as you're buying from Microsoft, they're happy with that, right? And then they have all the interconnectivity. So like if you have an Xbox and you're playing games on that, and then 2 years later you buy a PC, all your games transfer over, all your save files transfer over. So I think this was kind of coming, is that they were expanding out because they knew that unless they did something drastically different with the hardware like Nintendo does, they have to somehow bring in the PC element because everyone plays games on PC now. And it's like this same conversation has been happening on the Sony side of things too, where like PlayStation 5 fans are like, where's all the exclusive games? They're all going on Steam. Like, there's no exclusives anymore, So the only people who are actually the only company maintaining a specific purpose for their hardware is Nintendo. And it's because they're doing something drastically different with it.
Right, and it's so funny because Nintendo's thought of as like the weakest of from a power perspective, but they're just offering a different value value proposition to their consumers. They're offering this, plug in and play, easy, fun games while still having the hardcore games, but they're still Nintendo games. I've said this a million times. Nintendo sells Nintendo games. That's what they do. That's all they're worried about. Microsoft sells gamer games, and that's a little broader. But I wouldn't say Microsoft sells Microsoft games and Sony sells Sony games. And it looks like Microsoft could potentially be selling to Sony because there's a reporting that Gears of War, which is just insane to think about. Gears of War, Sea of Thieves of all things, Sea of Thieves, which was like the big exclusive. These are games that could potentially go to PlayStation with this new strategy. Gears of War is being considered. Grubb said on a Game Mess Mornings being added. It's not a guarantee, but there's a proposal for it potentially happening.
Right.
Which, holy moly, that would just be the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, and I see Starfield and Hi-Fi Rush on there too. I mean, Starfield was a huge flop, but like Hi-Fi Rush was a game that was really good and went underneath everyone's radar. Like it was announced, it dropped the same day. It was an amazing game, and no one played it. It's like, well, there you go.
It's just crazy to think about, man. It is nuts. This is a obviously would be a catastrophic change to the industry as we know it, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad move. As crazy as that sounds, and people will flame me for that. But if you just look at it from a business perspective, I don't know if it's necessarily that bad. So
yeah, I agree.
It's crazy.
The next gen might just be like Sony doing its thing, kind of holding on. Microsoft just moving into the PC space, trying to bully Steam, and then Nintendo doing its thing with the Switch too. That might be it.
Maybe potentially. Well, we'll see. When they provide us with some information as to what the next step is, because apparently it's coming next week. I'm sure we'll have. Hopefully, it's on a Friday on the 15th of next week, so we can talk about it on the show. We're rooting for all this stuff to come down on Thursday the 15th when we're live for 12 hours. So. Alejandro came in and says something Dev and Craig share in common is that wholesomely early YouTube vibe when video game review videos were done out of love. Yeah, there's definitely passionate about it. Still wanted to make a living though. I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
Humble Dirt Merchant says, I picture skinheads shouting Nintendo power. Didn't quite see that a whole lot back in the 90s, but
no.
Marksman says of 117B says, Dev, you going to revenge end rags in D&D? I don't even know what that means. What does all this mean?
So I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons with Rags from EFAP, Sargon, Arch Warhammer, and V, and we're all playing it together on stream. And no, I'm not going to revenge end him. He's being a bit of a spurg, but it's fine.
Hal says, so there's a gap for the Amico to fill? Yes, Hal.
Bring back the TurboGrafx.
Oh, let's go. I feel like Neva JJ says, Blab's in the corner. She should be in the tower where she belongs. I can't get a side scroller's tat because no room, and the artist won't ink SS. Really? That's so funny. Man, people are so fucking stupid.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. Oh my God. Marksman of came back, says he sets you up for the ambush. Oath breaker. Oh, it's rough. Twisted Logic Gaming says gaming journalists and IGN are incredibly irrelevant. Ever since YouTubers decentralized game info, why go to IGN for anything when you can go to top players of whatever game you like? Nerds! You're right. You are correct. Bippity Blue came in and says, Melanie, have you heard any rumors about the controls being slightly altered in the Tomb Raider remasters? Could be a huge problem for me personally.
Oh, I have not heard that. To my knowledge, they just have where you can toggle the classic controls, and well, they just call them tank controls, or you can play with the updated controls. I am a big fan of the classic controls, so I'm
nice.
glad that that's an option.
Man,
yeah,
so
we'll see.
I remember they re-released Mario Sunshine, and they took out the pressure for the triggers to spray the nozzle farther, which makes the game so much harder because you need that control, right? And it's like, how come you guys can't port games properly? Come on.
Silver Camaro says, what do you think of crunch time? It was unfortunate, but we saw results. Now it's gone, and the work there looks like the LinkedIn vid. Games suck now. You talking about crunch time, like as in working hard in a very short amount of time? I think that's necessary in pretty much every industry in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think
there's a deadline you got to work. It's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, it's called deadlines. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all seen that one screenshot of Harley Quinn in the new game versus the one from 10 years ago, and how even though it's a 10-year difference in hardware, she looks so much worse in the new game. It's like, what are you guys doing?
I know. That's the thing is with older games, they had to get more creative with the art style and stuff too. And I just feel like the quality of a lot of games now and focusing so much just on scanning people and that and things like that is you lose a lot of the artistic element. I mean, there's some games who still, like Capcom does a good job at like doing face scans and stuff, but still incorporating it doesn't look like a direct scan. It's like, okay, they still tweaked it and still added style to it. But for the most part, I like the art style of older games so much better than modern games.
Yep.
Let's I want to hit you up with Rolling New. By the way, we have a lot of folks watching over on Rumble right now. If it's your first time tuning in, hit the follow button. We'd love for you guys to join us over on Rumble at rumble.com/sidescrollers. We're live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Appreciate the love, Rumble. Thank you guys very much for your support. Rolling New says, I had to go for 30 minutes and we're just hitting hard news. That's a sign of a great show. Hail Side Scrollers, Melanie and Dev. Let's go, Rolling New. Rebound came in and says, they changed the story in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I no longer care. Maybe it'd be better? Who knows? You mean the movies came in, says Microsoft just ran out of names for new consoles, so they're giving up. Appreciate that, guys. David says Microsoft has become the Western Tencent. Well,
yeah, kind of, actually.
Yeah.
Tencent making that money, man. They are making that money. Certainly Off Strife says, it seems because of the Switch, Steam Deck, and ROG Ally?
The ROG Ally. It's like another Steam Deck kind of thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Oh, really?
The future of the console.
Yeah, is that like Asus Republic of Gamers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Republic of Gamers. So they made basically a Steam Deck copy. They're like, listen, the Switch is great, the Steam Deck's great. We're gonna make one that is just a hyper-powered PC that costs like $3,000, but it's a handheld. It's like, so they did it. And so it's like the upper end of that type of portable console thing. So they put that out. And it seems like I think some people are moving in that direction now, the idea of having a portable PC. And that might be the new frontier for games.
Yais Rhoda says, is Starfield as dull as says? It looks so. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm following up on yesterday. There was the report that that Walmart was supposed to destroy all their copies of Starfield, and
really?
Did you hear about this?
No.
So there was last week. There was a tweet put out that was an internal memo from Walmart saying that at first they needed to reduce all of the games to 3 cents for mass clearance, and if they weren't gone by Monday, then they needed to be destroyed. Thank you, Blabs. So I actually, Monday being yesterday, so I actually went to my local Walmart yesterday and checked to see, and there it is right there. They're off the shelves. And
wow.
I asked the employees, I said, hey, what happened here? Did they get rid of them all? And they said, yeah, we threw them all away. So
it's not a great game, but I would buy it for 3 cents.
Right.
Yeah, I'd probably buy it for 3 cents.
When I was going to
hear that they also do that for other games and other items because it's just too expensive to ship back to the original companies.
Right.
So yeah. Keep in mind.
And then also like shelf space in a store, that's money, right? If you have a product that's there and not being bought, you're losing money. Yep. So I recall they did it with, I think, Fallout 76 and Mass Effect Andromeda back in 2016. They were marking those games down like 97% because no one was buying that shit.
Yeah, just get them off the shelves. I wish I had gone over there and bought all their copies for like 3 cents. And I would have, somebody suggested just giving them away to our enemies and just like sending them a copy that's signed or whatever, or just buying a full lot of 100 for $30 and just
Melanie
having
would be like,
copies.
Too rich. Love Mel.
There you go.
Yes.
Too rich, you F. No.
Yep. More like it.
Considering that games are now just being trashed like this, it seems like we're approaching an ET Atari type scenario where the game industry is kind of like crumbling around us, and there's going to have to be some sort of collapse and reform or something, because people aren't making money anymore. Well, I mean, like Nintendo is, and some other companies still are. Like a few companies are doing well, but for the most part, it's fucked.
Yeah,
we are teetering. I feel like we are teetering on some sort of massive change happening to the industry very quickly.
I think a lot of that just has to do with a lot of these games are unnecessarily high budget, and they are, and I know I sound like a broken record with this, but they are just cinematic experiences for the more so than actual games. A lot of the mainline stuff with all their set pieces and all this stuff. And so there's a lot of value in, and this is why I think Nintendo is really successful, is they make games. Like, they actually make games. They care more about, okay, here's our video games. We don't have to have top of the line realistic graphics for everything. We just make fun games. And I think the industry needs to go back to that focus.
Well, I mean, you see a game like Pal World, which I wouldn't say the game looks spectacular by any means, but the fact that it's
Yep.
I played Pal World last week, and I hated that I liked it. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, God.
I think I might finally try it tomorrow.
I played it for 2. Like, I'm so bad at those type of games. I played it for 2 hours, and I didn't even get through the tutorial of it. But I had so much fun. It's just like it's just one of those stupid games where you do one thing to do another thing, which leads you to another thing, which leads you to another thing, and there's like these little trees that take you along the way, and then guess what? It brings you all the way back, and it makes you feel like an idiot because you got to start over and do something else. But while at the same time making you feel really strong and powerful that you accomplished something, it's like a dopamine hit every 3 seconds. Then you got your little slave pals over there doing stuff and building bridges and stuff. It's fun.
There's some weird implications in that game, because you can turn humans into the pals later on, and then you can also eat them. It's like, I don't know about this, but like in general, though, the game feels like the Pokemon everyone wanted,
right?
Rather than what we're getting recently, right? Because I grew up with Pokemon, and I love that stuff, but like playing the new ones, it kind of just feels a bit soulless.
I don't like the new ones.
Yeah, neither do I. Nintendo would never make this game, right? But it's still a good game, and it does feel like what fans kind of want out of it right now.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, Blabs has to go. She has to. Yeah. But if you guys are cool, if you want to stick around a few more minutes, Mel, can you stick? Okay,
sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
I can stay as long as you like, no problem.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Since Blabs has to go, Blabs, let's put this one last timestamp in for you, because now it's time for the new segment sweeping the nation. It's time for Streamers Are Idiots. Let's go. All right. where we take a look at dumb streamers from around the internet and all the fun things they have going on in their life and why they feel the need to stream them. Let's stink and go. Let's go to Dexerto, as this is interesting. A streamer has announced that they're, I guess, going to get clean, which is important. They've announced they're finally going to take a shower. Check this out.
My appetizer. The illusion. I'm not gonna take a shower.
Oh,
I love that this is like so proud. Oh my god. It's just. I'm so proud of you. Oh my god. Thank you. Emily, I will say I had to do one.
So you may be asking yourself, why is that a big deal? Which here's the streamer in question, as she's claiming she's never worn deodorant. And
What?
Here's why she needs to take a shower.
Here's a little bit.
What? Was it actually? No, Caroline, be honest. I've never even worn deodorant in my entire life. I thought I didn't need deodorant, and I actually do need it. Does it actually smell? Please, Caroline, be honest.
There's a little smell.
Like of what?
You like BO.
You are a human, lady.
Do you
Wow.
wear deodorant?
No, I've never worn it in my entire life.
You've never worn it in your entire life?
Yeah, because I didn't think I needed to.
Well,
I can't even go one day skipping deodorant, and would not be cute.
Yeah. I don't know how you get into this. Like, I don't know if they're playing up for the camera or this is a character or something, but like, if true, I don't know how you get in this kind of mindset. Maybe because like you're a rich, moderately attractive woman and you're online all the time, Maybe it's like, oh, I don't smell, right? Teehee.
Well,
Right.
I heard that Asians don't have as much body odor as other people. I don't know how true that is, but I have heard that.
So I dated a couple Asian girls back in college, and they have like a different body odor for sure.
A kimchi.
It's still there. She wasn't Korean. Like,
Tell us more, Dev.
I think there's some genetic difference there for sure, but like
Right.
it's like it still smells bad. Like everyone smells bad eventually, right? But there's definitely a difference there for sure. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
The chat is disagreeing with you. Andrew says that's 100% a lie.
Are there any Asians in chat who can give us some insight on this?
Right. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Yes. Poll in the chat. This is the type of polls we have on the. Do Asians smell better than white people?
I've never smelled Asian body odor. I've just smelled Asians that smell like kimchi sometimes. That's it.
Yeah. Like, and then there's like the stereotype of like Indian guys and curry. Like there's all stuff like that. Yeah.
And me that smells like steak.
Yes. What do the different races and nationalities smell like? Let's go down the list.
So here's the thing. To be fair, like I've had Italian relatives who definitely smell like they're sweating out some marinara sauce or something. And it's like, yeah, okay, I can see it now. There's definitely like a diet component to this.
Oh my god, that's awesome. That's so freaking funny. Like white girls, like you hear about soy boys, and that's literally what they smell like. It's just smell like asparagus.
True.
Oh,
That is true.
ridiculous. Okay, let's go to our next one over here. This was passed around a little bit ago, but this is a thing that needs to not happen. Here we go. Let's check it out. You can see he's disguising himself as a thing over here. She walks by.
A mannequin, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That would scare the crap out of me. Those are shorts. Dadgummit.
No joke. Golly. Let's go, lady. Just going to Target with her ass hanging out? Just saying. Ridiculous. Let's see what happens.
Oh. You guys just threw this at me? Oh. One of you guys just threw this at me?
Let's go!
Yo, he's just a mannequin.
Oh my god.
That's kind of base, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I love
that was
seeing
pretty
pranksters get their comeuppance.
I'm with you on that.
Actually, yeah. So I in a video I did today. Every Tuesday I treat myself and I do TikTok Tuesday where I cover like nonsense like this. And there's a few videos of like, you know how you get these guys with microphones and they're hanging out in like the nightlife of a city, and there's girls who are bar hopping and they get a girl and like ask them a question, and then they get the girl to make a complete fool of herself for the video, right? I got one where like the guy goes up to a girl, asks the girl a question, and it's like, what do you like in a man? And the girl's like, well, I don't like it when I'm trying to go to the washroom and they ask me stupid fucking questions.
Right.
And then she walks away, and the guy who has the microphone like loses it. And I'm like, dude, hold on. Your whole thing is that you're here to like, to make fun of these chicks, right? Like you can also have a bit of humility when you take an L once in a while.
Right.
So I like stuff like that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are just like with streamers in general. Streamers are, it's almost like they're entitled to be assholes, right? When these IRL streamers, like they go out and well, I'm making content. Isn't it funny? Here I am. Look at this prank. By the way, somebody died. You know, it's like, it's just crazy. There was that one little, I think it's like a 15, 16-year-old kid, maybe a little older. He has there's a video of him going around. He has a bodyguard, and he like bumps into people, and people are like, yo, what the fuck? And then the bodyguard steps in and he's like, yeah, what you gonna do? You know, and it's really,
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what I don't know. These people need, you're right. These people do need to be stopped. These are just assholes. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, like there is some funny stuff that comes out of it, but it's got to be annoying to actually encounter one of them in real life. You know, it's got to be just like, what the fuck?
Right.
we have this. We could continue on, and you know what? Let's go. These aren't streamers, but we can absolutely talk about the craziness that is the Apple Vision Pro. Have you guys seen the Apple Vision Pro and all the shit that's going along with that the last little bit? This thing that you put on your face,
a little bit,
right? Well, so obviously people are upset that they can't access like VR porn in it. That's obviously a major thing. But people are taking this Apple Vision Pro, and these have to be skits in some way, shape, or form. But they're in real life situations where they're out like working out, and he's like working out with his Apple Vision Pro on.
Yep, I've seen these. I saw one where a guy was in a Tesla that was self-driving while he was doing work in VR.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you're trusting your tech to get you from point A to point B, I mean, like Tesla's self-driving's okay. It's probably going to be okay, but it's also still quite illegal for you to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wow.
Here's this guy walking around with his Apple Vision Pro. He's got his,
my goodness.
Yeah. He's living in the metaverse.
I got to be honest. Man, if somebody walked up like this on me and like got him up in my space on accident, whether they're seeing something real or virtual, whatever bullshit this is, I got to be honest. I think I might just punch him in the face.
I wouldn't blame you.
Like, this is the most batshit thing. It's crazy, and this is Ready Player One right here. That's what this is.
Yeah.
This guy's acting like he's Tom Cruise. Like in the Minority Report, he's stopping in the crosswalk to do his like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's just walking around. He puts his hand out, stop, whatever, and he's trying to stop some avatar in the game as opposed to the car that's barreling down on him in the middle of the street. God, this is crazy. This is the world we live in today, where people are walking around with virtual boys on their face, and the whole.
I can't wait for. They're gonna get like neck problems. I'm sure of it. Having that like strapped to your head 16 hours a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat brought up the Google Glass. Yeah, the Google Glass was meant to be something like this 10 years ago. It just didn't work out for them because they realized how fucking dumb it was.
Right. Here's that video of the dude being arrested for driving with the Apple Vision Pro. And
he got arrested?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And rightfully so.
Yeah,
rightfully
I agree.
Yeah.
So
sorry,
here's the thing about this, right? Is he's been pulled over. Now, you should be able to see, you're supposed to be able to see their eyes, right? Like it's a holographic version of their eyes when they're when you see their, so it's not their real eyes, but it's like a computer generated version. It's really like dystopian and messed up. But when you are doing it, when you're self-driving a Tesla, the Tesla has a camera in it that is right above the rearview mirror right here. It's right over here, and it's looking back at the driver. Now, that camera is not meant to be sent to Tesla. It's only for internal use, apparently. But it tracks where your hands are. It tracks where your eyes are. So if you're looking down, it'll alert you. It'll say, hey, get your hands on the wheel. Hey, keep your eyes on the road. So I have doubts about this, if this is real or not, based off of because it's supposed to track your eyes, and if you're doing this the entire time, I have doubts. There was another video of a guy in a Tesla truck that was doing this, and he was all like, but
the Cybertruck.
Yeah, the Cybertruck. It was like the most 2024 thing you've ever seen in your life. This guy driving a Cybertruck with his Apple Vision Pro. But I have my doubts.
Their self-driving actually is pretty good, but you are required to maintain your attention because it might make a mistake, so you can't just goof off.
Yeah. Here is the guy in the Apple Vision in the Tesla truck. Is once again, the Tesla truck looks like something out of some dystopian movie, but this guy just pulls up next to him and he's over here working on some docs or something.
I just think it makes you look so brain dead, like
putting something in a spreadsheet while his car's driving for him. What a world we live in, man. This is just so dumb.
It kind of reminds me how when those handless phones first came out, they were just like earpieces back in like the late 2000s. Everyone who was talking on them looked like a tool.
They did.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Same kind of thing.
God.
Just people who just seem like very self-centered in public, you know.
You just hated them. You see someone walk in with one of those Bluetooth headphone thingies in their ear, and it's just you already hate them.
Sorry, Chad. If anybody wears a Bluetooth headphone,
I hate you. I'm sorry.
What a damn shame. Oh my God. Eric came in and says, Dev, they patched Sunshine to get the GameCube controls. There you go.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I think you can use GameCube controllers with the Switch. So hopefully it sounds like I fixed it. That's good. Yeah.
Rod says, it's official. Microsoft is the new Dreamcast of this generation.
I don't know about that. I don't think they're going to be collecting Xbox Series X's the way they collect Dreamcasts. There's not going to be like this beloved, tiny community of people who loved the Dreamcast and thought it was going to win. That's not going to happen, guys.
I think they're failing for two totally different reasons. One was for piracy. The Dreamcast was for piracy and the ability to like rip Dreamcast games so quickly.
Yeah.
That's different times for sure. The Worthy One says, usually I have sympathy for people who are about to lose their jobs, but after the BS me and other gamers had to put up with from IGN and other game journalists, I'm like, man, F y'all.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that sentiment. I don't know if you guys remember, but like, I think it was 2018 or 2019, there was the whole learn to code thing where you had people who were working blue collar jobs and those jobs were being shipped overseas that are being made redundant with automation or something. And you had like a bunch of people who they're like miners or whatever, the manufacturers. We don't have any jobs anymore. And you had people online say, these people need to learn to code. That's where the job market is now. Go learn computer programming. I mean, it's probably true, but it's very heartless to say to someone who just lost their job. Right. But now all those coders are losing their jobs. and everyone now is coming back with like learn to code, like the memes coming back now.
Right. That's rough. Push-Ups says Final Fantasy VII Remake equals Star Trek 2009 sequel, but also subpar remake. Thanks, Push-Ups. Appreciate that. Orthodox Monk says, will you get into tabletop gaming, tabletop wargaming? We'll go halfsies on the bolt action battle for Berlin Box. You can have the German half that has King Tiger. Oh, I guess we're trying to make deals here, Dev. Look at this. Toxic Jedi says, Melanie MacBreast is tempting me to sin. What the hell? Toxic Jedi, what the? Okay.
I'm sure yours are bigger, dude.
Jester Face says, I have Megacon crud, but at least I have side scrollers to make it better. Nintendo needs more power in their next console, like how the GameCube was.
GameCube was so great.
It also
failed.
The
GameCube.
It failed really badly, but it had a lot of good games.
I loved it though.
Yeah, I loved it too. Nintendo's not going back to the days of power because at this point, any good PC can overpower any console. Right. It's just how it is. So you got to have like a niche now.
Mark came in and says, X-Ray Girl never wears deodorant. Smells great.
She does smell good. She does not have body odor. So I agree. And she doesn't smell like kimchi either.
Samuel came in and says Asus, Lenovo, and MSI are all doing handhelds competing with Valve's Steam Deck. Yes. By the way, speaking of X-Ray, I was really upset about X-Ray Girl and a post she had on her Twitter feed the other day. While I was upset that and I got to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to be able to recover from this. After I left the Geeks and Gamers house a couple days ago, they started to do skits, and she delivered this skit the other day. Really upsetting.
Me Chinese, me play jokes, me put pee-pee in your Coke.
She's gonna get canceled.
That is so funny.
How do you cancel the Asian girl like for doing the Asian stereotype? Like, how do you do that? I'm just saying.
True.
Hey, Retromeister says, I would like to add to the list of best games are the Siphon Filter games for its close depictions of bio attacks and Big Pharma before 2020. The cutscene for the church level in Siphon Filter 1 still sends me chills even to this day. Thanks, Retromeister. Appreciate that.
I heard rumbling that they might be doing a remaster of the original Siphon Filter.
Oh.
It would be interesting. It would be fun to electrocute people in that game again, for sure.
You just have to hope that they don't change anything.
Right. That's the
Right.
thing, the scary thing about that.
Maybe they just, instead of electrocuting people with his taser, maybe you just hand them a teddy bear and have them fall asleep. Or like, a little more ethical. Humble Dirt says, "You see the prankster harassed someone and got shot." Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago, I believe. I think it's messed up. Just you fuck around, you're gonna find out.
I think it was last summer.
Yeah.
No, it was last summer, and it was a YouTube prankster who like approached a guy picking up an Uber order at a restaurant to go deliver it, and he just wouldn't leave the guy alone. And the prank was that he was yelling at him, calling him a pedophile. And it's like, it's not much of a prank because that's a pretty serious accusation in public.
Yeah.
So he kept chasing after him, yelling he's a pedophile. He turned around and just shot him. It's like, well, I don't know what you expected. Like you're in Texas, dude. It's gonna fucking happen.
Right.
Yep. The old was it fuck around and find out, right?
Yep.
Yes. Fafo. Anthony says those Apple goggles is that just a liberal thing? Man, I don't know. I think you will see most of them being used in city settings. I don't anticipate people out in the country getting out their Apple Vision Pros and milking cows. Dan says, I guess future is coming, like Ready Player One. Yeah, for $3,500, you too can look like an idiot. Metastep says Matthew 5:28. But I tell you, well, but you go ahead, Melanie. Go and read that.
But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Yeah, that's what Jesus said.
Sorry about that.
Dude says Halo CE's remaster may have looked ugly and used the inferior Gearbox PC port, but it did start the idea of switching between old and new graphics. Also sent you some missing rants through Discord. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll make sure to check those out. And Big Top came in and says, hey, yo, another random thought. You can rearrange Marissa Tomei to spell out, it's a me, Mario.
That's
Thank
funny.
you. Thank you, Big Top. Appreciate that. That's wonderful. Let's see. We also have some missing rants here we got that tall person. Got that from Blake. And we got that one from Dude. Yes, got him. Thank you. Come again. All right. Let us get out of here. I know we were going to talk I wanted to talk Street Fighter and stuff.
It's the anniversary, right? You can't let that one go. You can spend 2 minutes on it. That's
Maybe
your big thing, Craig.
We talk about our mains.
All right, let's do that real quick. Okay. So the 33rd anniversary of Street Fighter is today. Street Fighter being released in the arcade, Street Fighter 2 in particular. And I wanted to talk about this game because this is a game that this was the game that turned me into gamer guy who was like, I love video games now. So this game came out when I was 10 years old. And I remember for me, this was a game this was the big difference between the arcade and the NES and Super Nintendo at the time. And Street Fighter 2 was the game that made me look forward to going to the arcades. And I would say Street Fighter 2 saved the arcades because this was at the time, arcades were fun. They were a destination to go to. But Street Fighter 2 was the arcade killer app that made you go to the arcade and spend all that money. And obviously Street Fighter 2 has been remade a million times. They're now on Street Fighter 6, but in addition to Street Fighter 2, there were 7 or 8 different renditions of it. Championship Edition, Super Turbo, Super, there's modded versions of Rainbow Edition and all these crazy things. But I would love to hear everybody's the game. Obviously, Melanie, I know what yours is, but the game that turned you into a gamer, and this goes for everybody in the chat as well. I would love to hear the game that flipped the switch for you because I just thought the roster in Street Fighter 2 was so cool, and the intro. I remember going to the arcade and listening to this theme. And you'd hear that, and that just resonated with me. I remember going and hearing the elephants from Dawson Stage in the demo, going off, and people lining up and putting their quarters down to be the next one in. So I love this game. To think this is 33 years old. I guess I was 9 when this came out. Mm-hmm. It's really crazy to think how old this game and it still looks great. still looks really, really good for its time. So
it's still getting releases, and there's like a Switch one that came out, right? A Street Fighter 2 specifically.
Yes, there was, and like here's those elephants, by the way. So good. It was so good and so wonderful. I love this so much. So let's start with you, Melanie, since we know what yours is for sure.
Right. I mean, now I've been a gamer since way before Tomb Raider, and I played video games all the time. But Tomb Raider is just what really that just changed my life. That was just like, okay, I'm obsessed with this. It took gaming from being just, oh, this is fun. All right, I'll play this with my brothers and all that, to, wow, this is incredible. This is everything. So Tomb Raider 1 on PS1 is what did that for me.
Have you seen the remakes of Tomb Raider, like the OG Tomb Raider, but that's being made for all the classic consoles, like for the 32X, and like they're like almost being demade for different consoles? Have you seen those?
Oh, I've seen a little bit of like X and A Lara projects, they call them, that they put on different things. I've seen a little bit of that. But the level editor community, they do a fun demake stuff. Like with Tomb Raider Legend, they demade that to a PS1 version. Well, not on PS1, but like in that engine on PC. And it was better. I like what they had of it. They didn't have the whole game, but they had a lot of the levels, and it was better than actual Tomb Raider Legend. I loved it.
Like demake projects, you can always tell like that's when fans really love a game.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm following somebody who's demaking Bloodborne onto the PlayStation 1 and actually runs on PS1 hardware, and it's like that looks really cool. Yeah,
that would be a really fun show to do. Talking to people who demake games.
Yeah.
So my buddy True Fun is in the process of demaking the original Mortal Kombat, I think for the 3DO of all consoles. He's like, it'd just be fun, you know? like these people are so talented. It's insane. So Deb, what about you? What's the game that for you made you a gamer?
So I inherited my dad's old NES, and so I kind of missed the NES days, right? I still played a bunch of NES games because I got them for free, and I was a kid, so why not? But I wasn't there for the NES days, right? And I played a bunch of Super Nintendo games, but I didn't quite really get it yet because I was still pretty young. It was like, oh, it's a fun thing, right? And I think the N64 was when I really started to identify as a gamer. But nonetheless, all my favorite games are still Super Nintendo games, right? Like the number one for me, even though it is now considered today the lefty Nintendo cuck soy boy answer, my number one game is Earthbound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of hate how like every progressive independent game developer is now like, I was inspired by Earthbound. Here's my shitty game, and it's like, oh, they're all the same game. But
Right.
Earthbound was something special back in the day for sure. And I think when I played Earthbound, that was kind of when I was like, oh. Yeah, this is more than just what I like to do. This is a kind of a core part of who I am.
Oh, you know, one of my most tragic stories is that my brothers and I had Earthbound on SNES, and my mom, she just thought it was demonic because I think she saw one of the bosses and she was just like, I don't know if I like this. I think it's a demon game, and she burned it.
You burned your Earthbound?
Yes.
Hold on. Your mom
It hurts now.
burned Earthbound? Like
Yes.
she literally put it in like a fire?
Yeah, we lived out in the country, so she one day she took a bunch of like our toys and stuff that she thought looked demonic, and she took Earthbound and she put it all in a bonfire and she burned it. And
Melanie, I'm not going to say it, but this all explains so much.
I mean, it was a miracle that like by the time Devil May Cry came out and I wanted to play that, I was like, oh, I really want Devil May Cry for Christmas. And Mom's like, Devil May Cry? And I said, Mom, you actually fight demons. It's a Christian game. I told her that, so she got
Was that the spin you gave her?
It was, and she got it for me.
The devils may cry, Mom. The devils may cry.
We're making them cry.
We're going to make them cry Jesus tears. Extra Jesus tears.
So I remember my mom not letting me play Killer Instinct when she saw me walk in from like having rented it. And then when I was a bit older, I wanted to pick up the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube, and I had to hide that for a bit.
Oh man!
But I eventually. But yeah, okay, so speaking of Earthbound, all right, okay, my chat, who's currently watching you, Craig, they know the story, they know it off by heart. But speaking of your mom burning Earthbound, I'll speed run the story because I know we're going over time. I'll speed run the story. Okay, so there's a story that I've told many times in my community called The Great Purge, where I lost something like 80% of my childhood collection of video games from all consoles and everything. All right, so I went off to university, right? So I go off to university for the first time. I end up getting into a relationship with a girl. It was actually a pretty bad relationship in the end. And she pretended to be a gamer girl. Turns out she wasn't. She was hoping to wean me off of video games. But,
no.
Yeah, didn't work out. That relationship didn't work out. But she convinced me to like sell because I got the Wii. The Wii was the new console at the time. And you could in the first year of the Wii, you could hack it. I don't know if you remember this, Craig. You could hack your Wii. You get the homebrew channel. You could pirate all your games if you want, run them off of a hard drive. Really early on in the Wii's life. So she's like, listen. You already have, you can just download whatever you want now. So just you might as well sell all your GameCube stuff. I was like, well, I want to keep a couple games. I don't want to keep a couple controllers, so I'll need them. But I sold my entire GameCube collection for this woman because I was like a dumb 18-year-old simp, right? And so meanwhile, though, the rest of my collection is back home at my parents' house, back in my hometown, right? So my mom has a garage sale. She sells the inherited NES and all the games, like 20 games, a Zapper, a couple controllers, I think even an NES Advantage. Sold the whole thing for like $20 to somebody in town. Whole collection gone. And there were some good games in there. And then over the course of the next 8 months, because I didn't come back home till summer, until April, I'd have my Super Nintendo collections there, my N64 collection is there, my PlayStation 1 collection is there. And they're just kind of sitting there, in the family game room or whatever. A cousin would come over and it's like, hey, can I borrow one of Devin's games? And my parents or my sister, they don't know what's going on. They're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And borrow became it vanished, It's like a cousin comes over, asks for a game. The parents say, yeah, whatever, sure. Or like one of my sister's friends would come over. Hey, can I borrow one of your brother's games? Yeah, okay. And I lost almost everything. And I came back to nothing. I lost a copy of Chrono Trigger that I had. I lost a Final Fantasy VI. I lost Zelda Majora's Mask, the gold cartridge. I lost a lot of games, and it was all. And I had to rebuild my collection as an adult because it was all gone. It was all gone.
Oh no!
Yeah. Wow.
I just want to say for chat and everything too is my mom is awesome, so I don't hold that against her.
Yeah, I mean, I've also buried.
My mom's awesome.
I've buried the hatchet with my family too, but when I came home and I saw nothing there, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened? Hey, I lost my Mario RPG. Oh my god.
But not that temptress, not that evil temptress who made you sell all your stuff. Oh God, don't reconcile with her. You sent her a nasty tweet.
We don't forgive her.
It's okay though. She was Asian, so we already talked about her.
Okay, nice. She didn't smell at all, which was weird. All Around GamerGate says Killer Instinct is the game that made them a gamer. Final Fantasy VI for Mutant Sod. There you go. Thank you so much, Mutant Sod. And the mystery came in, says, got two in mind. The for PC was Star Wars Rebel Assault 3, and for console it was Smash Brothers for the 64. Let's go, mystery. Push-Up says, Zelda, Link to the Past, Mega Man X, and Power Rangers on the SNES. Very underrated game, Power Rangers on the on the Super Nintendo. It's good stuff.
Was that the fighting game one?
It was the beat 'em up.
Yeah, my brothers were just playing that not long ago.
Let's go. Hey, Elite Neo says, old school Super Mario Brothers on NES turned me into a gamer. Ninja Gaiden turned me into a pro. Hopefully next year I can make it out to MegaCon and give you guys a demo of Ninja Gaiden on the keyboard. All right, Elite Neo, you stud. Thank you very much. John Kaji says, quick question, Melanie. Since you're a fan of Fire Emblem, who's your favorite character in Three Houses?
Oh, in Three Houses, I would have to go with Lysithea. She was my glass cannon. I trained her up so strong, and the rest of my units were just kind of all mediocre. But Lysithea just a beast.
Let's go. Orthodox Monk says, Mama Mac doesn't want you to go to the Shadow Realm.
Exactly. She did it. She had good intentions.
That's awesome. And Hayden came into the tent, says, when I was younger, I loaned my original Xbox edition Xbox and some games to my cousin who had gotten out of prison and was living with my grandma. Never saw it again. Hayden.
Oh, the whole Xbox. Oh my God, that sucks.
I like that you loaned it to a criminal. Like, what did you expect? Oh, Hayden, I'm sorry, buddy. Hopefully you'll be able to get that back sometime. All right, let's get out of here. A little longer than usual, but I'll tell you, this is a really fun show. Appreciate everybody popping in today. I need everybody to go find Melanie Mac over at Melanie Mac Go Boom, as well as Bible Time with Melanie Mac. I also need you to go find Dev over at his channel as well, Short Fat Otaku over there, where you can find, I don't know, give everybody a descriptor of your channel here, Dev.
There it is. My channel at this point is just whatever I feel like doing. You know,
that a boy.
I've done like daily news stuff. I've done like TikTok goofy reactions. I've done political, like describing political theory. I've done history. I've done whatever I feel like doing is what I do. I've done gaming videos. Like, it's all there, man. It's just the Dev channel, I guess.
Heck yeah, man. Great stuff. Love to see that. All right, and you can find me here on this channel as well as over on X at Stuttering Craig. I want to remind you guys, if you're watching over on Rumble, hit the follow button as we close in on 6,000 folks. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button on your way out, and give it up for Rabnad, who came in and says, the games that got me being a gamer were Lego Indiana Jones for PC, Mario Galaxy at a friend's house, and Kirby Superstar Ultra on the DS. DS was my first. Let's go, Rabnad. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody. Once again, go subscribe to everybody. Check everybody out. Thank you very much for popping in and letting us be a part of your life. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great rest of your day. Melanie, I need you. I need you.